Hi. So we're in my basement today and I'm going to plant marigolds and lettuce seeds. I saved some marigolds from my own garden in the fall and late summer. And what I did is I put the marigold heads in a coffee filter and then I left them in an open baggie. So hoping that the coffee filter would absorb some of the moisture and protect the seeds and that the baggie I could eventually seal. And so this worked for what I labeled teddy bear marigolds and red marigolds, which are kind of hard to find around here. But unfortunately, the bag that I put mixed marigolds in, it became all moldy. So none of the seeds in this pack are going to be viable, which is fine. I can buy marigolds from the store if I need more. My garden plan for the backyard includes 20 marigolds, and today I need to plant 18 seeds of lettuce. We're going to put a single or maybe two seeds in each cell because we don't want to overplant. We don't want to waste seed. We don't want to waste our energy, and thinning and doing all of that work is really a waste of our time and our energy. So we're not going to do any of that. We are going to overplant a little bit though. So I need 20 marigold and I need 18 lettuce. And so what I will probably do is I have cells of six sets. And so what I'll probably do is I might do 20, I don't know, maybe do 20 lettuce or 25 or 26 lettuce, something, 24 lettuce, and then probably do an extra couple sets of marigolds. I like to put them in the front yard too. They're good for the bees and the pollinators. And again, you can collect the seeds and you can plant them over and over again. So I'm going to start with my tray here. I have empty set of Jiffy cells. I bought sets of 4 from my local garden store. And I also have an old bag of Jiffy seed starting mix. I added a little bit of water because it was very, very dry. And I'm just going to fill the cells. Be careful not to get any on my keyboard. And you just want to make sure all of the cells are mostly filled. I have an extra bag if I need it. It looks like we will. Make sure everything is distributed evenly. You don't want the cells totally filled because you need to be able to water your seeds. You need to be able to make sure that everyone has room to grow, and you don't want to hold anybody too tightly packed in their cells. Then nobody's going to grow, and that's just not going to be good for anybody. It's all a waste of time, right? All right, so I'm going to grab my next bag, and this is a brand new bag. Like I said, I bought it from a local gardening store. All right, so we have our bag. We're going to fill the other seeds. This smells like peat. You have to be careful what seed starting mix you buy. Make sure that you're understanding what's in your seed mix. Some people make their own. You can definitely look that up. If you want to put the time and the energy into that, there's nothing wrong with it. One thing to note is to note where your peat comes from. There are harvesters of peat out there that are not sustainable. We're taking away from the bogs. So just be aware of where your materials come from and how you're harming or hurting the environment, even if you're trying to save it in your own backyard. All right, so I have dirt in most of my cells. It's mostly evenly distributed, and we'll get going. All right, so I don't have a whole lot of fancy tools, mainly because I don't plant a whole lot of my own. In the past, I haven't had a whole lot of progress or success. A lot of times I plant them, they come out really leggy, and they're just not suitable to put in the garden. They don't survive once they're hardened off and are cool nights. So I'm going to start on my left, just because I like to work left to right. And so I'm going to open my baggie. And like I said, in my coffee filter, I'm going to have heads of red marigolds. And that's what it's going to look like. And then I'm just going to very carefully, on my table here, open this up. Open up the little pod. And these are our seeds. Make sure we empty the pod so we know how many is here. And again, we don't have to put a whole lot in each one. We could put 1, maybe 2. We don't want to overstuff the cells. That's really a waste. It's a waste of our time and our energy. We don't need to do that. So we're just going to pick up 1 seed at a time. 1 baby seed at a time. And we're just going to put it in the cells. Bury them a little bit. You can use a skewer. So when I do the lettuce, I'll use the skewer just because they're tiny little seeds and you want to be able to see where they're going. And you want to be able to make sure that you're putting them at the right depth. These I'm just putting in at about 1/4 of an inch. Because I harvest them myself, so I don't have a little seed pack to know how to properly plant these, which is fine because we're just going to guess. And most little seeds that you're going to plant anyways are going to be happy at about 1/4 of an inch of dirt. Again, you don't have to do anything fancy. I bought this dirt from the local garden store. All right, so we have 2 sets of 6 of the red marigolds planted. And we want to make sure that before we move on and before we forget what we're doing, that things are labeled. You should also know that sometimes in these bags, it's basically made of compost at the industrial level. And sometimes you're going to have organic matter, or sometimes you might find plastic. Just pull it out. All right, so I've planted 2 sets of 6 of red marigolds. And so I have these really nice markers. I bought them from Johnny's Seed Company. And I am just going to mark that these are red marigolds. Now, you can do all sorts of labeling methods. It's really up to you. I have used popsicle sticks. You can use like small pieces of paper. You can just put a chart down. The one thing you want to make sure of is if you use popsicle sticks, that you make sure they are food safe, because you don't want them leaking chemicals into your dirt and then having your plants absorb that from the dirt. All right, next up, we're going to put some lettuce seeds in. So right now I'm working with a French blend, and this has a lot of seeds in it. It has over 3,000 seeds in it. We're definitely not going to grow that much lettuce. I don't often have very good luck with lettuce in my garden. We get really hot pretty quickly, and so I actually have a lettuce box that I put my lettuce in to try and shade them from the sun to keep them from bolting. Bolting means that they grow up straight. There's a stalk, and then it sometimes flowers. Once that stalk really starts to form, the lettuce is going to go bitter, and it's pretty much not going to be worth eating anymore. It's not going to be edible. It won't hurt you. It just won't be very tasty. What you can do, if you're interested, is letting it blossom and then collecting those seeds, and then you can choose which type of lettuce to grow in the future. I've talked to some of my gardening friends, and a lot of the lettuce mixes we find locally are full of arugula and other pointy and bitter tasting leaves. And a lot of us just want a sweet, crunchy lettuce, and it can just be hard to find that type of mix. So again, you can buy a mix like this. I actually bought 2 mixes for this year and plant it and then select what you want once it bolts. You can also just pull it out. The square foot gardening method recommends that once it bolts, you pull it out and you continuously plant flats, and you have flats continuously growing that you can just replace within your lettuce garden. If you're in a much more southern, much more humid climate, you might just not be very good at growing lettuce outside. There are things like cold boxes that you can try. Growing it in full shade might also work in your environment, but the heat and the moisture is going to make it bolt pretty quick. All right, so I have my fancy skewer from my kitchen down here. Don't worry, we're not going to use this for kebabs or anything. It is garden only. And we're just going to make a small hole in each of these cells. And when we do that, I do them in sets of 6 at a time, just so I don't lose track. I have sometimes a very short-term memory. And so I've done that, and I am going to pour these out into my hand. They do make little tools that you can use. And so this mix is pretty interesting. You have all sorts of different shapes and sizes of seed. And we're just going to put 1 in each cell. Little seeds, big seeds, all sorts of different things, because we have different variety in this mix. Never quite know what you're going to get until it grows. Like I said, 1 to 2 seeds per pot. Definitely don't need to do any more than that, especially with lettuce. It'll grow pretty quick, and while it doesn't need a whole lot of space, it does need some. All right, so once you put the seeds back in, again, you can do 6 at a time or not. I use the back end of the skewer, the flat side, and I just kind of cover everything up. All right, so once I do that, I want to make sure I label it. Again, you can use all sorts of labels. I bought my markers from Johnny Seeds. You put them in there. You water everything. Some people mist in order to not flood the little cells. You also want to make sure that the bottom of your flat has water in it in order for your cells to soak up from the bottom. I'm going to put this on a heat mat that's on continuously 24 hours, and I'm going to put them under a lamp, a light, and it's going to have a mix of different colors in it in order to encourage growth. Now, with the lettuce, I've had mixes come up within a matter of a few days, 3 to 4 days. The marigolds, I'm not sure how fast they're going to come up. Again, I collected these seeds, so it's not a packet. I truly have no idea what the growth rate is for these, but we're going to keep a light on them for about 15 to 17 hours a day. All depends on how long I'm awake and if I remember to turn the light off at night. You can use timers, you can do all sorts of things, but I have a small greenhouse, 4 shelves that just stays in my basement. It stays zipped up. The cats don't really bother it. And it's right near a plug, so I can make sure I can plug it in and take it out at night or in the morning, depending on when that is. All right, so this is Chelsea. You are watching how to plant a flat of homegrown seeds, and we're going to come back and do some more gardening with you. Thank you. Bye.